Hey, everybody, welcome to the Machine Shop Growth Podcast. My name is Mike Fritz. I am your host. We have some unbelievable announcements coming your way on what's going to happen with Machine Shop Growth Podcast here in 2026. Happy New Year. Hope you all had a great holidays, Christmas, New Year, the whole nine. So we cannot wait to see what 2026 brings us. And we've changed a couple things on the podcast that we're going to do this year. As you know, Kirk Phelps and I used to do this show together. We still are doing this show together, but here's what we're doing. What we kept seeing was we kept having a lot of you reach out, especially to Kirk, and we're asking some questions around just systems, operations, engineering. And so what we're going to do is we're going to double the amount of content we pump out. So instead of 2 episodes a month, we're going to go to 4. And here's what's going to happen. 2 of those episodes, the first and third episode, is going to be all sales marketing with me. I'm going to be talking about sales, marketing, quoting, the whole nine of how you get customers, how you articulate if a customer is good for you. I'm going to be having some amazing people on interviewing how they find customers, how they grow those customers, manage them, and in the same way, how they are attracting et cetera, how they're attracting leads, et cetera. So we're going to do sales, marketing, and growth, getting new customers, making your shop more profitable on Monday, first and third Tuesday of every month. And the second and fourth Tuesday of every month is going to be our ops show. That's where Kirk is going to come on, our operations show, and come on and talk about speeds, feeds, operations, programming, setup, all the things, tool holding, work holding, all the things that actually make chips. And so he's going to come on and he's going to absolutely rock it with sometimes a lot of people on with interview. He'll be interviewing some engineers and some people on how they really make parts. And I think that show, the reason we're doing this is we want to give a more comprehensive solution as you truly grow your shop, to hit the levers that grow your shop, right? I mean, if you take a part and you can compress the amount of time that spends in the machine, that makes that part more profitable. We all know that. But how do you actually make it take less time in the machine? And that's what Kirk's going to be covering. So I will be hosting 2 Tuesdays per month. Kirk will be hosting 2 Tuesdays per month, and you will be getting twice as much content. So I'm so freaking pumped that 2026 is here, and we are going to have an even better year. As you know, we launched this podcast last year, got a lot of really great feedback from you all. We just want to thank you. We wouldn't really be doing this if you weren't listening. So we're really grateful for you, and we've had a lot of great feedback. A lot of you sent us some great messages and encouragement that you're getting value. If you have not, would you do us a favor at the beginning of 2026? You've been listening. Would you throw us in a positive review so that we could continue to get this podcast to more people? That would mean the world to us. Just throw us a good review on there so that people can continue to see. That's, of course, if you think we're bringing value, please do that. That would be awesome and mean the world to us. It really just helps us get in front of more people, bring on better guests, etc. So we are really grateful for those of you that have done that, and we'll continue to be grateful for those of you that do that in the future. So this week, to launch 2026, what we're going to be talking about is how do you launch your growth plan for 2026? So what we're going to be talking about today is really, as you know, in Machine Shop Growth, we talk about 3 areas. If you're going to grow your shop, you need to think about top line, bottom line, people. Top line, bottom line, people. Top line, bottom line, people. And inside of each of those folders, I want you to think about these like folders on your desktop. Inside of each of those folders, you click on that folder and it opens up a list of things a list of levers, we'll call them, that make those things grow. So what grows the top line? You double click on that folder, and it opens up in things like, customer, like growing the customers you have, or making sure your differentiation and articulation of new, current, dormant customers actually exist in your shop, and you're running your shop in a way that gives a nod to those 3 people actually existing. You don't treat dormant customers like you treat brand new customers. You don't treat brand new customers like you treat somebody that sends you POs every month. You treat them differently, and making sure you have a plan for each one of those psychologies. Every single one of those heads are different, right? A customer that is, when you think about somebody moving new work to your shop, they're not using you right now. They're moving new work to your shop. They're doing that for a couple reasons, and understanding, why does a vendor move work? Think about you. When you're sending stuff for outside processing, your heat treaters or your platers or whoever you're using, your grinders, maybe you don't do grinding in shop or whatever, you send it out to be done. Why would you take that work and give it to somebody else? Could be price, could be delivery, could be quality, could be the fact that the communications, could be all kinds of things. Or it just could be that they're too busy, which kind of bumps into lead time. And so it could be all kinds of things. So all I'm getting at is I want to make sure that you understand the three folders of top line, bottom line people. So this is not a cute slogan that we put on the back of a t-shirt. We really live this stuff. In fact, we had our launch meeting, about an 8-hour meeting with me and my leaders of Quick Tech Machining this last month. So as 2026 was ending, we had that meeting kind of to recap the year and then launch 2026. And this is what we did: top line, bottom line, people. Who do we need to hire in the people side? Do we need to let anybody go? Do we need to bring anybody on? Top line, how are our sales and marketing engine? Bottom line, we're adding on some automation. We're adding on some systemization, some processes. We're reprogramming some stuff that really hits. We're onboarding some new customers and how that works. We're saying no to some customers, right? So we run this. This is not something that we talk about. It truly is something we live. Now, do we live this perfectly? Oh, hell no. We don't live this perfectly. We are still growing just like you all are. That's why I love being in this space. I am not at the end of the tunnel waving you all to catch up. We're right in the trenches with you. We're talking to customers every day. We're making parts every day. We have QC issues. We have shipping issues. We have payroll issues sometimes. So we are right in this with you. So growth for us is so part of who we are. We're willing to live this. So part of us doing this podcast wasn't because we want to make a bunch of money on a podcast. The big thing for us was we took our systems that have grown us over the last 3 years. From 2 years ago, it grew us 37%. This year, it grew us about 21%. It's working. And we just want you to be able to use that too. But my point in saying all that is we're right there with you, right? We're right there with you. So as we launch into 2026, I want you all to start thinking about those three categories. If I were you, I love whiteboards. I am a whiteboard nerd, junkie, whatever you want to call it. I love them. And so I would put a whiteboard in every office if I could. So what I would do is I would sit down with your team and I would draw 2 lines down the middle of a whiteboard, or break it up into like a kind of like a trifold brochure kind of thing on a whiteboard. Draw 2 lines, cut it in thirds, and write top line, bottom line, people. And then I want you to start writing what levers could be pulled to increase your top line. What levers could be pulled to increase your bottom line? What people are you underutilizing in your shop? What people are maybe ahead of their skis a little bit? Maybe they're in a position they have not had the training to do. We have a couple of those. Maybe they're in a position where they're often running up against their lack of knowledge or lack of skills that needs to be filled, or they need to be realigned into a role that better fits them, and you need to rehire somebody for there, or just offer the training to do so. So again, take this. This is a leadership meeting, right? Where you lay out top line, bottom line, people, and you start talking about what levers would you could pull to increase those 3 things. The first thing I would start with, however, is your shop. I would ask a couple questions. Who are we? What do we do best? And what are we doing right now that is not in our wheelhouse, but we're doing just because we need the cash? Okay. So who are you and what do you do? Quick Tech it's a lathe and mill shop. We're really good at stainless, tight tolerance, stainless. Here's the thing. When we take on orders, and our GM big time pushes this on us, is, hey, this really doesn't fit us. Can we do it? Yes. Should we? Just depends. If we're slow, yeah, it's an order we'll throw in a machine. But should we try to really maneuver? Like Quick Tech has a really solid backlog right now. Well, that's not that. It's been days where we haven't had that, but right now we have a really solid backlog, and it looks like it's going to be that way for quite a while. Well, the question is now, when orders come, they're smaller POs. and you got to maybe dismantle, maybe take out a part to put in a part, or maybe you got to wait. The lead time's so long, it's only a couple little things. The truth of the matter is, we have to start thinking at the top line before we even go into this meeting. The first thing is who are you? What are you? What do you do best? What are you doing right now you probably shouldn't be doing? Right. And the reason is because when you think about, if you have a huge flower bed out in the back of your house, what you water will grow. Well, if you water the right corner, or let's just say you walk out your back door, to the right, you've got flowers, you water those, they grow. To the left, you don't, they don't grow. So the question is, we want to find what we're good at so we can water that. Quite frankly, I don't want to water what we're not good at unless we're going to spend time, money, and effort to become good at that. There's times where buying a new machine, new capability, and a new skill set makes sense for the kind of customers you have. But again, we want to first start off with who you are. And I know this is foundational. If this is really elementary and you already know who you are, perfect. Then you got this down. But 90% of shops could all have the same tagline. We make stuff. Like, that's their tagline. We make stuff. And the problem with we make stuff is it just does not really help you grow. It doesn't assist the growth path, because I don't know where to water. If I go out, I'll just sling water on every single flower out there. Okay, that's great, but maybe there's some that need to be plucked. They don't need to be in the flower bed, right? And so the point is, with your shop, we need to know, what are the winner parts? Let's get more of those. What are the loser parts? Let's cut them loose, right? So part of it is, but until you know who you are, you will be like the cowboy that jumped on the horse and rode off in all directions, right? He got nowhere, essentially. And so the most shops really hit. We all know about that elusive $2 million ceiling. Maybe you're making less than that, and you'd love to get to 2 million. But let's just say you all know you know about that $2 million ceiling. The reason that $2 million ceiling exists is because people don't think in top line, bottom line people. Right? They don't think people think that all you need to get to 2 million is sales. That could not be further from the truth. Now, yeah, you got to have $2 million worth of work to make $2 million. That's for sure. But if you don't have the processes to get it done, or you don't have the people to get it done, you'll go out of business. You'll be the next shop story on whathappentothem.com. And you're the next story, right? So getting to 2 million bucks is not just about sales. It's about being able to get it done efficiently, effectively, on time, quality, etc., right? So if you're going to grow there, but the reason people hit that ceiling is they don't think about that. They think like, oh, I want to get past 2 million. Well, what they do is they sell, and eventually their backlog gets big enough to where customers come to them and then they turn away. So for example, if my backlog is 8 weeks or 9 weeks or whatever it ends up being, and a customer comes to you, brings you a part, and they're like, we can't really wait that long. Well, that happens because I focused on sales, but I didn't focus on systems. I don't have the systems to have a backlog. You really want to keep, depending on your industry, if you're in an OEM industry, backlogs at 8, 10, 9, 12 weeks, depending on the kind of part and size of part, of course. That's a tough one, man. They'll push you away sometimes. Now, sometimes they'll be fine with it. Their PO rhythm sends you they have POs and they know it's going to be 8 to 12 weeks when they get their parts. So they adjust for that delivery. That's fine. The problem is to get past to get past that $2 million ceiling, we got to compress that. So how do we take an 8 week backlog and turning it into a 4 week delivery time? So let's say it takes me 8 weeks. Let's say I pump out 100,000 a month. That's $1.2 million shop. If I pump out 100,000 a month, or I pump out $1 million a month, it doesn't matter. If I pump out 100,000 a month or $1 million a month, and so that means in 2 weeks or 2 months, 8 weeks, I pump out 200,000 or 2 million, whatever the number is. How do I pump out 200,000 in 1 month? How do I pump out 2 million in 1 month? Well, the only way you do that is through people, system. That's the bottom line in people. Right? I mean, you got to have the work. I mean, that's a given. If we're going to do the work, we got to have it. So, but if you're going to grow there, a lot of times what keeps shops from going past 2 million or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 isn't always the work. Now, some of you are out there listening and you're like, no, we just need work. We have empty machines and we need work. Well, that's a different ball game. That's obviously point number one. But I would ask the question, why are you not busy? Do people not know about you? Have you not clearly articulated yourself to the marketplace? Are you so post-door focused that nobody knows about you? Are you the best kept secret? And what I mean by post-door focus, once they get in the door, you're great. I mean, you make parts, they're quality, they're on time, you crush it. I mean, everything's perfect. But nobody knows about you. You're hiding under a rock out in no man's land, and nobody knows how to get a hold of you, and nobody knows how to find you, and you don't have any content online. You don't have any good websites. You don't have any leads. You don't have any Google ads. You don't have any way for people to find you. Well, then once again, you fail. So the first thing first, I've given you two specific things. One, I want you to sit down. I want you to get out a piece of paper. I want you to write down who you are. Who are we? What do we do really well? Okay. Then after you know who you are, who you do really well, what do you not do well, go through an exercise. What do I have in our shop that serves who we are, the things we do well, and what is in our shop that does not serve who we are because we don't do it well, and it might not even be that you're not good at it. There might be a part on your floor that you're great at, but you just don't make any money, and there's really no way to make any money because the customer's beating you up so much. Then don't do that part. That part's not for you. Here's the thing. Tell me a machine shop out there where not making money on parts works. Who is that shop? That's not our shops. We're trying to make a profit, right? We're trying to take a part, make it make sense for our customer, and we need to make money as well. We need to keep our margin intact so we can survive and pay our payroll, pay us, build wealth for our families, and blah, 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 right? So if that's the case, and you have any parts on your floor, maybe they do fit you. They fit the materials you're used to handling. They fit your machines. You're good at programming them, whatever. But you can't make money on them because the price is too low. They ain't you. So even if you say, okay, we are maybe we're a 5-axis XYZ shop. We've got great programmers. We've got good systems. This is who we are. Maybe we've got a certification. We do aerospace. We can do ITAR, whatever. We can do this. And then customer comes along and you're like, well, I can't hit the lead time and I can't make any money on these parts. Then that ain't your customer. That ain't who you are. Right. So again, I say this to share again, you cannot grow what you do not know. Okay. That's a big writer downer. You can't grow what you don't know. You can't grow what you don't know. Meaning, if you don't know who you are, you can't grow that. And it'll grow by accident, right? It'll grow by accident. And I want you to grow on purpose, but you can't grow what you don't know. And so you got to you got to get to know who you are as a shop. What is the DNA and the heartbeat of who you are? And then go grow that. That's what we got to find first, right? So we got to find out who we are. We've got to find out what we stand for, what parts fit us, what parts don't, what systems fit us, what systems don't, and we got to execute that. So the first thing is, again, and this is what we're going through even, and by the way, you go through iterations, multiple iterations of this. Every year you should be asking this because the truth is, you might, let's say you lose a little bit of weight. Maybe you put your suit jacket on this year. Last year you lost some weight. It doesn't fit as well, right? Well, here's the deal. Same thing with shops. They go through changes, and sometimes you come to the year, you're like, that doesn't really fit us anymore. We have parts on QuickTech's floor right now that once we implement our 2026 plan, they won't fit us anymore. We'll have to tell our customer we can't do them anymore, or we'll have to find a way to do them that does not interrupt the flow of our future. Right. So if you do have parts on your floor that fit you now, just make sure if you either find a way to do them that does not interrupt the flow of your future, or you got to cut them. They got to go. And so again, but if you don't figure out who you are, you can't do it. Right. So here's the thing. I'm a big hunter. I love to hunt. I'm a big bow hunter. And if I gave you a bow and arrow and I said, okay, pull it back and shoot that arrow over there, and you shot it, and I said, did you hit it? And you're like, well, I just shot it over there. You didn't really give me anything to aim at. Exactly. You cannot hit a target you do not know. So until you know who you are, growth is just a discussion. It's just a cool podcast title, and you're coming here, and that is not a. There's really nothing to grow because we don't know who we are, right? So we got to figure that out first. Then we move to step 2, which is that the whiteboard idea that I talked about, where you break it up into 3 categories and you do top line, bottom line people, top line, bottom line people. And then we start to see what are our levers. Now, when you start approaching the levers to pull for top line, bottom line people, I always look at lowest hanging fruit to highest hanging fruit. Lowest hanging fruit is the easiest to get done and implement. But then when I look at my lowest hanging fruit, I do one more question. What's the lowest hanging fruit with the highest impact? What's the lowest hanging fruit, highest impact? We found out at Quick Tech, we do a part, we do quite a bit of one part specifically for our customer, that if we automated with some robotics, we would be able to save quite a bit of money. Quite a bit of money. And so one of our biggest initiatives for Q1 of 2026 is to automate that cell so that we can save money on that part specifically. We can run it overnight, et cetera. So the whole point is that we're doing the same exact thing too. We're looking at, okay, this is a low hanging fruit, but high impact, very low hanging fruit. We can get a robot that is the machine compatible. We'll get the same brand robot as the machine, and it'll talk to the control as well. We'll go get it. We have a couple things we got to do to it to make sure we can fit it to the machine, cage it up, do a couple things, and we're ready to go. But the truth is, pretty low hanging fruit. Some CapEx. It's going to take us putting out a little bit more debt on our balance sheet or whatever, and then we're going to start making parts. But again, lower hanging fruit, higher impact. That's going to save us some money. That's going to put a lot of money to the bottom line for us. So again, and it's not just, here's the top line. Here's the bottom line. It does two things for the bottom line and the top line actually here. Because if I automate that cell, I can take what it'll take me to do in 10 weeks, because it's about a 2.5-month part run that we have on that machine. Once we automate it, could probably do it in a month. I just got a month and a half of capacity back on that machine. Month and a half of capacity because that thing could run overnight. Now, think about that for a minute. I just crushed it with a low hanging fruit, massive impact. So I didn't just put more money on the put more money on the bottom line because I don't have a button pusher there. I can use them doing something else while that's just running in the background. But I also now can take on more work. There's top line comes in, right? So now you see how this dominoes in top line, bottom line, and people. Oh, see, one move hit people too. And what I mean by hit people is now I can take the person operating and I can have them do something else, teach them new skills, maybe get them set up, teach them operate, teach them maybe some small program tweaking, maybe then programming. So I can start to move somebody up because I don't need to have them do this lower operator knowledge part anymore because I can automate that. So again, when you go into top line, bottom line people, you're picking your lowest hanging fruit, but then of that lowest hanging fruit, how do you know what to do first? You start with the highest impact work, right? So when you walk down top line for 2026, the first thing you're talking is, what is our revenue? Maybe you're doing 1 million, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20, doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing a year, put that number at the top of top line, and then bottom line, put your bottom line. Put whatever your EBITDA is. If you're doing, you want your EBITDA to be around, depending 10 to 20%, depending on the industry and the kind of parts you're doing. And so you want it to be 10 to 20%. And so let's say you put your top line, put EBITDA, just so you have those numbers. And then I'm not a big fan of like goals in the sense of we did 2 million, let's do 3 million. Well, okay, that sounds great, but I want to make sure that instead of let's do 3 million, I'm going to give you a concept here in a minute that I got from the 4 Disciplines of Execution. It's a great book. If you've never read the 4 Disciplines of Execution, please do yourself a favor, read that book. But I'm not a big fan of goals per se. I'm more a fan of inputs. Like if I'm doing 2 million, I like to continue to grow 20 to 30% a year. That's a good safe model. We can grow there. You grow 100% in a year, you better have some leadership that can handle that. Being a $5 million shop sounds sexy until your expenses are 7. Right. And so you need to have leadership to grow. That's where people comes in. So I'm not as big a fan of goals as I am as like number, as like percentage of I want to grow this percentage in revenue, but also this percentage in bottom line. I want to become more profitable with every dollar that flows through my shop. So the first thing on top line is, do you need more customers? And then you write down new, current, dormant, like who are new customers we want to target. And again, how do you find new customers? You go into your shop, you find the parts that are profitable, you go find customers who need those exact same parts, right? It's a very simple model, copy paste. And then your current customers, I mean, make a list of your top customers, go visit them. Make a list of the customers that order once or twice a year, go visit them anyway, and just see if you can do any more work for them. And then you got your dormant customers, call every single one of them every single 6 months and make sure that you can't do any, it just be in their ear. It's called TOMA. We call it TOMA, TOMA, top of mind awareness. We want to make sure that we are TOMA with our all of our customers, but dormant customers especially, because maybe they change vendors. Maybe there's a lot of reasons that maybe they're dormant. Maybe they brought it in house, but whatever. So TOMA. Make sure that you're keeping top of mind with all your customers. Then bottom line, that's your systems. Especially make sure you tune in every second and fourth Thursday of the month. Oh, and the cool thing is every fifth. This is a cool. Every fifth Tuesday. So because I think like 3 or 4 months a year, there's like a fifth Tuesday in a month. Kirk and I are going to do a joint show for you all, so that'll be fun. We'll have a fun time doing that, and we'll do a sales and marketing versus ops wrestling match, and because we all know sometimes engineers and our sales teams don't necessarily get along, and I don't mean get along in a bad way. I mean, engineer thinks about how hard that part is to do. Sales thinks it's revenue, and sometimes they buy. And this is where these discussions are awesome, because you need to know how to hold the tension with growth on the sales side and execution on the machining side or the fab side or whatever you're running. And so, and then you write down your people. So top line, bottom line. Bottom line is all the ways you could decrease expenses or increase the amount, the speed at which you make a part, how you make a part, so that you can make a part more profitable, right? And then of course your people. I would outline all your people and see if you have a growth track for those people. What's the next step for each of them to get to the next level? We know our top three, really five, but I'll call them top three leaders in the shop. We know what their next level is in order to get to the next pay and the next leadership in their respective area. And if they want to do that, then they're able to take that track, and we'll help them, and then they'll generate more revenue for them and their families, and it becomes really fun. But as 2026 launches and goes, I want you to remember, this is not, please hear me, this is not a cute little spreadsheet. This is a living, breathing belief that it's either grow or die. You either go forwards or backwards. The reason some shops are $1 million and they stay $1 million for 50 years, they just don't think growth. They think machining. They think when a part comes in, let's make it and get it set. And that's a great. You got to make parts well, and that's what Kirk talks about on our op show. Is you got to make sure that you're hitting on time delivery, quality. Price. You got to make sure that you're adding in automation so that you can systematize, adding in processes, documentation, ERPs, all the things. You got to have it. And that's what really can boost your bottom line. But as you launch your 2026 plan, the big two things you can do is, number one, put yourself through the who are you exercise and make sure you're fully understanding and articulated in who you are as a shop. Then you're going to go to your top line, bottom line of people and start figuring out what levers you need to pull. You're going to pick the lowest hanging fruit with the highest impact. Okay. Please, please, please do not just run past this episode. This is like growth 101, to truly grow your shop. It's the thing that this doesn't do is I haven't really talked much, and we'll do this in an episode for sure coming up, is the biggest leap to growth is found in 6 inches between your ears. If you do not believe you can grow, or you don't know how to grow, or you have a belief system that holds you back, no growth method will do. Because here's what ends up happening. I've seen this in all kinds of businesses. When I first started in business, I'd go to these conferences and learn things that I could grow my business or whatever. And I'd go away and I'd know some people there, were friends with them, and they were implementing the same things I was, but they were having better results than I were. I'm like, we're doing the same stuff, same exact thing. How are they having more results than me? And I found out they had a mindset for growth. They were expecting growth. Growth was in their blood. They believed they could do it. They had this mindset that it doesn't matter what comes my way. I'm going to figure out a way to grow through this. And the problem with not having something like that, with not really addressing your mind, is you'll fall into the word of mouth industry of, if I get referred, I'll do more parts mindset, and you never grow and you just remain stagnant. I don't want that for you. I really want you to grow. So this year, 2026, is your opportunity to truly grow your shop. We're here to help you. And we have some cool things rolling out in 2026 to be able to help you and to be able to come alongside and even, we're going to launch some things where we may even be able to come and be on site with you for a few days and really help you grow your shop. So you'll stay tuned for some more information on what that looks like to have us alongside and really help you grow. There is some cool things coming your way. So we are super, super, super pumped. So again, if you have not subscribed to the podcast, please, please, please make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Those positive reviews really do fuel us forward, and we'd love a review from you so that we could go and continue to impact people in this amazing industry of machining. So we are so grateful. And again, we are doubling our content this year. No more 2 episodes a month. We're going to 4 episodes a month, and a couple of them will be sales, marketing, growth. The other 2 will be ops, engineering, and the floor. It'll really be the floor, like what happens on the floor, right? We're so grateful for all of you. So make sure that you tune in next week for another episode of Machine Shop Growth Podcast. Thank you all. Have a great week.